Hey everybody, I'm Michael DiTullo. Welcome to my studio, and today I'm going to be sketching up an electric Ford Focus concept. So way back in 2001, I actually thought about buying a Ford Focus. I test drove it, but I ended up buying a manual Toyota MR2 instead. And then in the teens somewhere, can't remember what year, I thought about buying the last generation to be sold in the U.S. Focus RS when they did that like super sported up model, and ended up getting a Volkswagen Golf R instead. So I never bought one, but I always kind of thought about it, and I always really loved the rear tail lights on the first generation that had that really cool high tail lamp thing that was pretty fresh at the time. The last gen one was pretty neat, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of sketch up what my take on an electric modern version of that would be. So let's jump into it. First thing I want to try to do is just kind of set this thing up. There's been a lot of Ford Focus generations, and honestly they've all been pretty interesting. So I'm trying to figure out, what am I gonna do with this thing? Maybe some interesting body side sculpting here that's a little bit different, a little pinched. I know I want to keep that kind of high tail light from the first couple generations, but I'm not really quite sure what else to do. Like, I always felt like the bumpers were pretty bold on the Focuses, so I want to keep that. I know this is going to be electric, but I don't know, but should there be some indication as to like a faux exhaust? I don't really like that idea, so let's wipe that out. I think it'd be fun to add some kind of an exaggerated aero lip on the back here. I'm going to put a clean sheet over top, clean layer. Now, this is actually the third clean layer I'm doing, so I think notice as I do these sketches, like I'm always doing kind of fresh takes, trying to correct what I got wrong, keep what I got right, playing with those kind of high tail lamp graphics, and really kind of adjusting that body side sculpting to be a little less nutty, a little more Ford-like. I like this idea of these kind of pill-shaped tail lamps that are low, and then also somehow keeping the high tail lamp. Maybe that high tail lamp goes into a more modern light bar, and that isolates that aerodynamic spoiler on the back. Notice also as I kind of go along, I'm kind of cleaning up the line work more and more. Maybe that rear window came down too far, so I want to raise all that up, raise the light bar up, raise the spoiler up. Clean all that line work up after I've done that, and I'm feeling pretty good about this now. Now I'm going to start doing something fun and putting in some wheel graphics, which will help it look a little more real. In Procreate, doing these kind of radiated wheel graphics is so easy and kind of fun, and it just makes the sketch pop. Now that I got those wheels in there, I'm going to cross hatch some shadow areas and start figuring out where my tail lights are going to go and blocking in some color. Notice as I'm doing that, I'm still correcting lines, right? I'm like, oh, now that I could see those lines a little more clearly, maybe that roof sloped down too low. That rear graphic was a little weird. I've got another idea for this kind of bumper form and how that carries all the way up into the top of the rear windscreen graphic, and then adding a little turn signal graphic in there. I think just always taking the advantage of the process of sketching to always be reevaluating, redesigning, refining as you go along, because sketches are cheap, sketches are easy, and so it's important to not be too precious with them. Okay, now that all that's done, I feel good about the line work. I can start adding some color. I'm gonna go with kind of like an olive green color and a white roof, and then just adding some layers over top and setting them to multiply, and then using that same green color. So all those shadow areas are actually the same green color, but the layer is set to multiply. Another layer on top for my highlights. And you can see how rather quickly, with just a couple of layers of shadow and then a layer of highlight, I'm really kind of making the form kind of sing on this. Getting into some of what's going on in the interior, in the windows, and then some highlights, just real quick, real rough. And then I want to start adding some toned light. So I've added on top a layer for kind of a blue tone and a layer for a warm tone. And then going in and making those highlights pop a little bit more. Now that I've done all that, I could start adding some real detail stuff. So some detail highlights on some of these shut lines in the door graphics and where the lift back would come up. And I should probably add some shading on the roof so that pops a little bit more. But already this is starting to look pretty good. I'm just gonna add some details, a little indication of a Ford logo and a Focus logo, some blue ovals on the wheels. Let's add a little lightning bolt on the bumper, and maybe a little texture in that lower, that kind of lower body. Again, always reevaluating. Like, I'm not quite happy with the spoiler back here, so I want to sculpt it out a little bit more. I think that flows a little more. And one more detail. Let's add some door handles on this thing. And that's it. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I say let's play it back one more time at super high speed just for funsies, right? All right, everybody. Thanks for checking this out. As always, if you liked it, hit like, hit subscribe, share it with a friend. If you're a design student, share it with a classmate. Throw it up on social media. All that stuff really helps if you want to see more content like this. And I'll see you next time. Take it easy.